I am a pastor bro who lives right here in Southeast Asia, and today I'm going to react to some of the videos of a lovely American and European women in their 30s and specifically in their 40s about, some possible regrets that they may have in their lives by essentially behaving like most modern women behave, in essentially what created the red pill movement, where now men, and I think a lot of people misunderstand the red pill movement. A lot of the red pill movement is about this long list of things that we now have to watch out for when we're dating modern women, or men like me who just don't want to do that anymore and just bail and go to countries where there's still some good, submissive, agreeable, feminine, and essentially traditional women are. Now, that is not necessarily the goal. There are a lot of many other benefits of living in these countries, but it is definitely one of the biggest. And now, it's not to say that we don't have modern women here. By all means, we do, especially women who speak English. They're usually already westernized and Americanized. I try to stay away from them, though I do come across them, more and more, of course. Some are Western and some are Thai women who speak English. Try to stay away from them. But now that I have this job, right, I do come across them a little bit more than I probably wanted to, just to feel a little bit of pain that you guys are feeling, so I can keep my fingers on the pulse of what's happening with dating in modern countries. So let's just get to, so this is just a compilation of a bunch of these videos. I just react directly to them, and I posted a few of them. I think the most popular video that I have on TikTok is essentially me reacting to one of these women. But let's go through a few. I haven't watched them really ahead of time, so this really is a live reaction. Let me know your reaction in the comment section, or if you're watching me live. I'm streaming live from Bangkok right here. Beautiful. I would say the most beautiful city in the world. I love it dearly. So, all right, let's get going. This is the first one.
So fucking tired of being the strong, independent, resilient one all the time. It's fucking exhausting. It is so fucking exhausting and draining to act like everything is okay all the time when you are absolutely fucking breaking inside.
So sick of being
Yeah. So she's is essentially describing what it's like to be a man, right? I mean, there's so much pressure on most men who have to provide for their families, for their children, who have to deal with a bunch of stuff at work, who have to work long hours, mental health is all of these things. Yes. So basically, when you say, see, we don't have to say we're strong and independent. That's just expected of us, right? If you're a man, that's just another way of saying you're strong and independent, where women, kind of emphasize that. And this is where it leads, right? I just never understood women, because I feel like any girl who would, you know, anybody wants an easy life, and no life is easier than, being a good, marriage material woman, which really doesn't take that much, right? Don't be a bitch, put some makeup on and heels on and dress well, and don't be argumentative and combative. The end, right? Really not that hard to be a desirable woman who is a wife material. And yet I never understand, the life is going to be easy. A good man, as long as you know how to pick good man, which again, I don't think it's that hard, a good man will come along, and in some cases don't even have to work. In some cases, you can have whatever job. The man was going to provide, make all the decisions. It's just going to be easy, life for the rest of your life. I don't understand why women gave that up and became essentially, strong and independent, having to do everything themselves. And in most of the time, and I would say 99% of the time, it sacrifices what they cannot achieve at the same time, which is having a good relationship with a good man. So I never really understood. But as you can see, as they are hitting their 30s and 40s, it's becoming apparent to them, but it's too late. And we'll talk about it in a second, I'm sure. Here's the next lovely lady, which I can already see has a nose ring. Tattoos, nose rings, red hair, blue hair. I mean, is that still a secret for women, that they should not do that? The nose rings, at least you can correct that problem by taking it out. But why put in it? Like, I've never met a man or even read a comment or watched a video where a man goes like, I'm not going to fuck that girl until she puts a nose ring in there, because that looks amazing. It's just just in case if women are watching, which they really should. The nose ring is indication that you're combative and argumentative, right? Because it's essentially sort of a symbol of being strong and independent and an alternative, right? And usually it's an alternative to being a traditional woman. That's why we just run. Plus, it looks fucking ugly. Now, when it's a little bit of a stud here, it doesn't look as ugly. And yes, I know in some cultures, I was just in Africa, in countries like India, and I think Pakistan, it is more part of the tradition and sometimes religion, so it's okay. But these things don't cows have that when there is a? Never mind. Let's keep watching.
Told that I should be happy single. I don't want.
Well, see, that's the thing. Women listen to other women because no man is going to tell you that, oh, yeah, sure, you'll be happy single in your 30s and 40s. No problem. It's the other fucking women who tell you that you should be happy and will be happy in your life if you're single. And this is the problem. Women take advice of other women and usually those women don't have a better personal life either, right? They don't take advice from trad wives, right? They take advice from other women who are miserable and single. And I just don't understand. It's not even that hard to, I think, fathom is that, listen, if you want to know how to be happy, ask a friend who's been in a long-term marriage or relationship and is actually truly happy and still has a great sex life and see how she did it, right? But no, all these miserable women take the same advice from each other and then wonder, I can't believe that didn't work. You know what I mean?
I want to be in love. I want to be sickening to everyone around us. I want to adore them and I want them to adore me. I want to find my person. I want to love them and I want them to love me. I have so much of myself to pour into someone, and right now I feel empty.
Well, so that's questionable because a lot of these people, women say, I have so much to give and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, modern women don't have that much to give compared to what women used to 10, 20 years ago. What really is, or what Thai women, traditional Thai women or Filipino women or Southeast Asian women or, South American, Latin American women, what it is that they give their man. I mean, modern women have, besides sex, modern women have very little to offer, and this is where they also go wrong. I mean, they don't cook, they don't clean, they're argumentative, they got fucking nose rings and tattoos. I mean, there's just pretty much nothing that a man wants anymore besides sex, which I've already talked in other videos that can be easily purchased, and pretty soon there will just be services that create humanoid robots. I mean, it's not tomorrow, but it is coming. So women are absolutely, especially modern women, are on a timetable, right? Because once men figure out how to replace sex, and we will, especially now, when there is a necessity, really, a woman like this, as pretty as she is, she ain't gonna be as pretty as the humanoid robots, except for you can order the humanoid robot to not put the fucking nose ring in, right? Like, how the fuck nobody told her this about the nose ring? Really, like, not a single person in her life. And all these simp men, none of them make comments on her videos, or maybe a male friend, just like, hey, listen, just so you know, we don't want that. Ugh. All right.
It shouldn't be that.
By the way, I do have to say that I do feel genuinely sad for these women. I feel bad for them because they seem to be genuine in their sadness, right? Now, most of the time it's their own fucking fault and the result of their bad choices and horrible behavior and all of those things. But as a human being, I do feel bad for them because a lot of them sound very much sincere, right? So that's just sad, because they've all could have taken, like, this one's cute, right? The previous was cute. Like, it's not like they would have problems attracting men visually, right? It's just like everything else that's just so not attractive that essentially drives men back into their homes, to the computer games and the gyms, right? And men like me to Thailand, in other countries, to just get away from them, because it is impossible to date women like this.
It's hard to find love, but all I find myself doing is scrolling through stupid dating apps, finding stupid men who just want sex.
So yes. Now, this is a couple of things that women just need to accept. First of all, if men constantly asking you for sex, maybe that's all you appear that you have, all you have to offer, right? Maybe you appear that that's it. That's all you have to offer. There's nothing else to you, right? Like, women never take responsibility for this. And secondly, listen, I'm sorry, it's just like, this is men. We're all the same in terms of, like, yeah, we all want to bang you. If we're attracted to you, right? If we see an attractive girl, we're gonna try to bang her. If a man is not trying to bang an attractive girl, there's something mentally or physically wrong with him. He needs to see a doctor. This is just how we are wired, whether you believe in evolution or God or whatever. This is just how men are made. And if we're attracted to you, we're going to try to bang you. Like, make fucking peace with it. Every goddamn generation of women complain, all they want to do is sex, you know? Yeah, well, all you want to do is talk. Like, you know, like, yeah, this is a joke that we were played about. You know, we want different things and we just have to play this game. Just stop complaining about the game. But most importantly, like, I know that I treat women sort of, I put them into kind of three categories, right? I think it's called fuck, marry, kill, right? Women who are like, okay, I'm just not attracted to, fine. But the other two categories are women that I'm attracted to, but immediately I would put them in one of the two categories. And most men do the same. You know, either the women who are like, oh, a potential wife material, right? The way she carries herself, the way she dresses, the fact that she doesn't have the nose ring or tattoos, like all of that, right? And women who have nose rings and tattoos and dress a certain way and talk in a certain way, where I'll be like, yeah, I'll bang her, but that's it. I don't see any more value beyond that. And a lot of times, even that is not even a big value, especially here. You know, I live in Bangkok. Like, sex is not a problem in any way, shape, or form. So even that is not really that attractive on Western women. You know, I have not dated or had sex with a Western woman ever since I got here. You know, I can't. I just so allergic. You know, I tried once in a while. I was like, well, she's attractive, right? And you know, and then as soon as I start talking, I'm like, no, I can't do it. I just can't do it, right? All right, let's keep going.
And I'm so sick of it. Why is it so hard to find love? I can't stop crying.
Why is it so hard to find love? It's your behavior, ladies. It's your behavior. You know, you have thrown away the list of original characteristics and things that the husband should have, right? You don't give a shit about education anymore, or character, or hard work, or, you know, being in shape, being well traveled, being from a good family, someone who's well spoken, someone who likes kids, if you're looking for, you know, to have kids, you know, all of those things that work, you know, classic husband material. You don't give a fuck anymore, right? You care about stupid shit, you know, or a lot of you don't even know what a good man is. I mean, you're raised by single mothers, you're raised in families when there is a father, but he's a simp, so it's even worse. An example of a man in your life is essentially a pushover and a spineless, you know, simp. It's sometimes, and it's, you know, in many cases it's not your fault, but you keeping up this vicious circle. And because you will become a single mother, because you don't know what a good man is, you will pick the wrong one, he'll get you pregnant, and he will leave. Well, you will have to leave him because he's an abusive asshole. It's on and on and on. So it's not that hard to find love. It's just your behavior is such a turnoff. There are plenty of women here in Southeast Asia that find love just fine, you know, but they're feminine, they're non-combative, they don't have nose rings or tattoos, they're submissive, you know, they're kind, they know what a good man is, you know. So it's not that hard if you actually start listening to men and not your friends.
I'm happy and I love my life.
Wait. I think this is everything that's wrong with modern women in a nutshell, right? She is crying. She's definitely upset, which I'm sure we'll find out why in a second. What could it be? But she literally says, I'm happy. I love my life, right? I mean, I don't mind that she's lying to me because I can easily see through her. I think anybody would, right? But the problem is these women are lying to themselves, right? Like, oh no, I'm happy, I'm fine. Well, I'm fine. What is this? This is not dude, this is just tears, right? What do you mean? You know, this is the hypocrisy of modern women, right? They know they're fucking miserable, They know they're going to be even more miserable, and they're not willing to change. Here in Thailand, it is amazing. I've already done quite a few videos about this phenomenon, right? Of modern American and European women coming here to Thailand, right? To live, right? Tourists, whatever, but to live. And they live here for 1, 2, 3 years. A lot of times they're teachers or whatever, or there's a job assignment with offices in Thailand or whatever, right? And so they look around and they see all these men, Thai men, foreign men, with Thai women. And pretty much never with, like, I keep telling you guys, if you watch my channel for a while, I've been here for over 2 years, and I'm pretty active in both communities, Thai and foreigner communities here. And I'm pretty active on social media because it's part of my job. I'm trying to always see what's going on in the trends, and specifically here in Thailand. And so far, I've only met, or even heard, but met one Western woman who got married here after coming here. Nobody wants to marry these Western women. Nobody, not Thai men, not foreign men. We just don't. So they live here for a year or two, and I've already made a few videos, and I have another video that I'm going to film, I think tomorrow, about how these women, they post, they're like, oh, I've lived in Thailand, for a year or two, and I haven't had a date yet, or all this, like all these men going for Thai women, right? So they come here, they live, they see what it takes to get a man, right? You would think that their brains would be like, oh, that's what you need to do, right? Like, that's the type of way. Oh, I see how they treat their husbands and boyfriends. That's what gets them a husband. And you would think that they would turn around and say, okay, let me mimic that, right? There's something there, right? Because I see the benefits. And they fucking don't. This fascinates me all the time, because I see these Western single women who are good looking. We have a lot of Russian women and American women, British women. They're good looking. A lot of them are. And they're all single. Like, if they would be like in LA or New York, or really anywhere in America or Europe, right, there would be a line out of the door for them, because most Western men are simps. But here, men go like, yeah, no, we have choices here, right? We don't have to simp. And even when we do simp, we'd rather simp for Thai women, right? I still don't recommend simping in any shape or form. You will always end up with a low quality woman, but nevertheless, and yet they don't fucking change, because they lie to themselves, like this woman, right? Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. See, this is happiness. Wow. This is, I hate to laugh at someone's tears, but this is hilarious.
But I feel so goddamn lonely, and it terrifies me.
Yeah. Loneliness should terrify you, especially in your 30s and 40s and 50s, because it becomes chronic. When you're lonely when you're 22, you can fix it, right? When you're lonely, maybe in your early 30s, much harder, but you can still fix it. But yeah, when you're lonely in your 40s and of course 50s, it's almost impossible to fix. Because let's say this woman is her 40s, right? Most of the time, these women are trying to match with men in my age group, because I'm in my late 40s, right? But who do we date? I mean, I don't remember, like, I think most of my dates in the last, like this year so far, were mainly with women in their 20s. I just went to Kenya, and the girl that I clicked with the most, we almost had a perfect match. She was 20 years old. I'm 48. So yeah, so we don't want women like in their 40s, right? These women, they should date men in their 50s and 60s, but they don't want to, because they're old, right? So again, there's no coming back from this loneliness, right? And yet she had balls to say that she's happy.
Everyone's getting married or having kids and starting a new chapter in their life with their friends and whatnot.
Yeah, talk to those women who are getting married. Now, hopefully they're not Western women who basically marrying simp, guys, or, gold diggers for marrying rich dudes who are losers and will divorce them sooner or later. That's not really a good model, right? And having kids is not really an achievement. You can do it like tomorrow or even today if you have some time, right? Having kids is not a big deal. But talk to someone who's been married for like 10 years or 20 years. Getting married and having kids is not the holy grail, right? It's staying married for 20 years. Sorry, I was talking about Kardashian, I guess. That's a big achievement. Talk to those women.
And I'm just here on my own, in my own home, working and surviving. And I don't know what to do.
I know what to do. You know, stop doing whatever it is that you've been doing all for the last 20 decades, right? Listen to men. Go and find a man who is a good man and say, hey, listen, what does it take, right? Let me buy you a drink. What does it take? You know, go listen to some of the women who have been married for 10, 20, 30 years. You know, my mother has been married to my father for over 50 years. Go talk to women like her. Go talk to my mom, you know? So, I mean, don't talk to my mom, but you know what I mean. So, you know, this is what it's amazing that these women still have not figured out what to do.
I don't know if it's just me who's experiencing this. But
No. I think this generation of women who are in their 20s and 30s now are mainly going to experience this. And it's going to be epidemic. The antidepressants are going to be, and cat adoptions, my goodness, probably going to be the best way to make money in the next 5 to 10 years.
I just feel so lonely. And it's scary.
Not scary enough, by the way. Not scary enough. If it's that lonely and that's scary and that's terrifying, why aren't you doing something about it? It's not like we're not telling you this, you know? It's not they're telling you, but men who will tell you the truth are, of course, you will call toxic and, you know, all the bullshit all the bullshit names that the narcissists, right? All the names that they call us, instead of just saying, hey, maybe I should listen to them. Maybe you should. All right, next one.
Out of this shit. I want my own man.
Well, that's feminine. I mean, I think we already know why she's single. First of all, her boobs are in my face. Now, if it's a strip club, if it's a red light district in Amsterdam, no problem. But if this is how you dress to attract men, you know, there's a problem right there. But this masculine banging on the table energy, and by the way, just in case if you're not familiar, in America, I only dated black women for the last 15 years. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons I went to Africa a couple of weeks ago, it was still this month, earlier this month in June, you know, was to find myself an African wife. You know, it was a quick 2-week experiment, but I thought I'll give it a try, and I did learn a lot. So I love black women, right? But my goodness, I mean, this fucking ratchet masculine energy that some of them give is just, I mean, it's hilariously ironic.
Why the fuck am I fucking with somebody that fuck with somebody else?
Yes, that is a good question. Why do you pick shitty men all the time, right? Shitty men that will double time you or whatever else is going on. And this goes to the core of this whole problem and why red pill movement really exists. Women don't know who good men are anymore. Now, I know your single mothers are not going to tell you. Your simp fathers are not going to tell you. But there are resources. Ask a guy like me. I'm here for you. It's my job now. I made it my job to watch some Kevin Samuelson videos. You know, they're free. You know, definitely miss Kevin Samuels. I mean, it's yeah, but watch him. He talked to black women all the time. Told you not to fucking do this shit, and you still going like, whoa, I can't believe this. You're picking wrong men. You know, and the list for good men is not a secret. ChatGPT it. What are the qualities of a good husband? Whatever. It's not a secret. It's right there.
Why the fuck when you tell me that? Why the fuck when you tell me that?
Then I also see a nose ring, right? Like, pretty sure there's some tattoos somewhere as well, right? Because it's almost impossible to find a modern American woman without fucking tattoos. The dumbest fucking thing that they do to themselves.
I want my own man.
I have reached my breaking point of having.
All right, well, we're done with that one. This black woman is a little bit more chill. Apparently, she reached her breaking point. All right, let's talk about it.
To do this life thing alone. I just want to be held, nurtured, loved, cared for, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, in all aspects. I want my heart and soul to be seen and held. I just can't do it alone anymore, and I'm at my...
You know, this should be taught in schools, right? Because again, so she seems to be genuine, right? First of all, she seems to be genuine. She didn't mention money right? Everything she is asking is quite reasonable. If I read a dating app profile with a girl saying this is what I'm looking for, I'll be like, you know what? Yeah, first of all, I got it. Secondly, yeah, that like, let's do this. You didn't mention money, you didn't mention trips, you didn't mention gifts, you didn't, you know what I mean? So it makes sense. And again, obviously I'm biased towards black women. I love black women. She's cute. Seems like she's got decent body. I mean, for what I can see, right? Like, so it's not the looks, right? It's always the fucking attitude.
Breaking point. I can do it physically alone. I've been doing it, but I don't want to. I don't deserve to, because I am.
Well, here's the thing. As soon as really anybody, but especially a woman, says I deserve something, listen, dating is seen as a marketplace, right? Like, I cannot claim that I deserve a great woman because I'm educated and I'm hardworking and I make good money and I don't have any kids, I don't drink and I don't do drugs or smoke cigarettes, and I'm traveled and I come from a good family and my parents are still together. Like, I don't walk around with that list in America and say I'm a high value man. No, I'm not a high value man, because women don't see value in that anymore, and it's the marketplace. So no, nobody deserves anything. You know what I mean? That's the thing, is I deserve anything. The worst thing that women can tell to themselves is I deserve something. That's not how life works.
Worthy of companionship,
You're apparently not worthy, right? You're not worthy of a companionship of men that you want. And I don't know whether she just wants the wrong man, right? And then every time she realizes that it's not a good relationship, or she does understand what good men are, but they don't want her, right? So I'm sorry, just by definition of reality, you are not worthy.
Community, of love, of affection, of support, of someone lifting me up, motivating me, encouraging me. I am worthy of that. So I deserve to receive that.
Worthy, deserve. This is why these women are single, and nobody told them. How is it they don't have any friends go like, hey, don't say that. Like, don't, that's, like, with men, it's different. Like, I had this guy who asked me to mentor him through his move to Thailand, right? I had to drop him because he was just so horrible. But, he would just say, I only date 10s, right? I only date 10s. Now, if we were women, I would be like, you go for it, right? Girl power, absolutely. You do whatever, But I told him, dude, no, you're fat. You don't have enough money. You're having financial trouble right now. You're not tall enough. You don't have you're not going to get a 10. You need to be a really good looking, in shape billionaire probably to get a 10, right? That's just reality. And he's just this short, fat dude who doesn't have enough money. Sometimes I had to pay because his credit card wasn't working. It was pathetic. But, I have no problems telling him, no, dude, you're not getting a 10. Sorry. Like a 5, maybe a 6. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But not a 10. But women never tell this to each other, right? It's like, oh yeah, sure, absolutely. You deserve that, right?
I don't want to do it alone anymore. And I've been crying all day.
So I know I said I wanted to take a break from dating.
That's another dumb shit that women do. They think they have time. Listen, if you're 20 years old, you're already running out of time. You're 5 years away from being at your peak of attractiveness to men, So the time is running out. You have only 5 years to figure out what a good man is, find one, have him see value in you, and marry him. 5 years, that's not much, right? But as soon as you turn 25, your value is decreasing. And when women in their 30s and 40s go like, oh yeah, no, I'll take a break from dating. Yeah, I can totally be 15, 20 years removed from my peak, and I have no problem, right? This is the dumbest shit that they do, but they do, right? Well, let's see what happens when they do.
And I didn't need a man. I changed my mind. I'll take whoever. Just like,
at least she's honest. I changed my mind. I'll take whoever. And this is what happens. Now, of course, the truth is she's not going to take whoever, right? She's still shooting for a guy who she could get 20 years ago. Or 10 years ago even, right? Or maybe even 5 years ago, but she can't anymore, right? I'm going to guess 45, So, and this is, but I like her honesty, and that really should be like, if you're in your 40s, like, yeah, you should take whoever. If there's any guy who wants you, you know, in a for a serious relationship, you should take him. But that she won't.
Get here ASAP. Please.
Is it just me, or
So I like the honesty of that girl, right? I mean, and this is something that I think should just be, you know, it should be just taught in school, that, you know, this is where you're going to end up. Do you really want to be like, I'll take whoever? All right, we got a comment, and this lady looks like she's proving my point. Says, black women don't love you. You're too soft. Unfortunately, black women did love me for last 15 years in America. I actually had great relationships. Last relationship lasted for 7 years. She was awesome. I just went to Africa, and even though unfortunately the dating scene there wasn't what I expected, it was more like American dating scene, but I've certainly found I've never had a night by myself in Africa. And I actually found this one girl who was just really wonderful. She just, you know, she's 20 years old, definitely loved me. She was wonderful, but she wants kids, and I don't want kids. So otherwise, honestly, I would have loved to bring her back to here, Thailand, and start something. So she was great. So, but you know, first of all, you have to, if you want to hurt my feelings, sweetheart, you got to try so much harder. You know how much hate I get, you know, on daily basis. As a matter of fact, if I don't get messages like this, I would almost be thinking like, am I doing something wrong? Am I not saying things correctly? Right. So, and this is, you know, this is about how toxic women are, right? Instead of listening to what I'm trying to tell them, and men like me, they don't have to listen specifically to me. There's like again, go chat GPT shit. You know, they would rather attack and insult and everything. And this is why I left, right? Like, I don't get attacks like this here from Thai women. Thai women here don't all agree with me. There's still modernized Thai women here, right? Who just don't want a guy like me because I'm too alpha, too whatever. But they're not ratchet to leave this message. By the way, this message could have come from a man who is a simp, right? But you know, it's always hilarious. But listen, I love little, you know, what do you call it, hackles here, and I would always put them up on the screen for sure. But you got to do a better job, a little bit better job. You know, try a little bit harder. But okay, on to the next black woman. Excellent. Let's do it.
am I like in the point of my life where like I'm so uninterested in men, but I also want a man so bad? Like, I want a man so bad, but I'm so uninterested. Like, every man that comes my way, I don't respond. I don't flirt back. I just don't care. Like, I don't.
Yes, so that's another thing that I did observe, and I see women do say this in their videos. By the way, it's amazing that they're not ashamed of this. In fact, thank you for them for making these videos. Obviously, kind of tells the rest of the women the reality that they should expect. But I've seen videos like this also where a woman goes like, "Oh, I really want a man, you know, but I just don't want to do nothing for it. I sit at home and that's it, you know. And when a good man comes along, you know, I don't look at him, right? I don't flirt with him, whatever." Which again, to me, it's a mental health issue. It's some sort of a mental health disorder, right? Because if anything, we're all wired to procreate, right? We're all wired to go after the opposite sex, in case of women, to receive the advances from the opposite sex. But when a good looking man makes a move on you, right, and you do want him, or men like him, and you go like, no, I pass. I mean, that just goes against nature of how we're made, right? So it is a mental health disorder. Like, and again, I'm not trying to make a joke with it. I mean, I don't make jokes about mental health. I mean, this is a men's mental health month, right? June is. So I'm not going to make fun of anybody with mental health issues, but she has a mental health issue. So do a lot of women. When you reject something that you know you want, right? It's kind of like you know, we all know that if a person who refuses food, for example, is mentally ill, right? Because we need food to survive. And when a person essentially rejects something that they absolutely need, they have a mental health issues. This is no different, you know? I mean, obviously love and sex or whatever is not food, but it is food for your soul, not to sound cheesy, right? So when women do this, like, this is a mental health disorder.
Care to put forth the energy. Like, I don't.
There are the tattoos, right? Of course. The fuck is wrong with these women? Like, somebody tell them that tattoos, tattoos completely eliminate you from the pool of most good men that you want. We'll see the tattoos, we run. Oh, when will it stop?
Came my way, and I still just been like, cool, because I'm good. But then I lay in my bed at night alone, and I want a man so bad. So like, what's wrong with me?
Can we?
Well, I already mentioned what's wrong with her. And like I said, I don't mean to make fun of mental health issues, but we do need to recognize them. And again, it's very sad. None of it is, I mean, it's funny that they are so delusional, but it's not funny because it is, if it's not a result of a mental health disorder, it's going to lead one, right? It's going to lead to depression and many other things that I don't think they planned in their early 20s, right?
Talk about how I crave to be cuddled, how I crave to just be like, can I just like kiss someone? Can I just like hold someone? Hold me. I need a big boy. But anyways, I just want to be held. And to be honest with you, like,
right. So, these are the women also. I don't know if you guys know, but there was this trend, I don't know if it's still going on, where women are being asked, like, if you're going through the woods by yourself, just the woods, right? Not like I've seen too many woods in America. I grew up in Russia. We had woods, right? Anyway, and if you were to have a choice to see a bear or see a man, right? And women are like, oh, I'd rather have a bear, right? So go hug a bear, and listen, like I said, like, this is what I think women also don't understand. We men, like, I am single in my 40s, and I might be single in my 50s and 60s, but I'm good. I have many other alternatives, right? I don't need to have a wife to feel successful as a man. Right now, I'm dating 5 different women casually. They all know about each other, so don't call me a cheater, please. And I'm perfectly happy, right? There are plenty of guys here in many other countries who purchase services for their needs, and they're happy with that, right? Women don't have choices like this in their 40s, right? They can, and just generally, right? If they want to be held genuinely by a man like this girl does, right? They have to have a genuine love, a genuine relationship with a man. They cannot purchase it, right? There's no AI that can do it for them. They want the genuine affection from an actual man, right? Cannot be purchased. And so this is why, and when you become less and less desirable as a woman in your 40s, and again, I think most of these women who we're looking at are quite cute. They were probably even better looking in their 20s, but they wasted all of that, right, to become lonely. So, but they cannot purchase it. They cannot purchase the solution for their loneliness, where us men, fuck yeah, we can, like, I came here to Thailand to find a wife. And once I got here, I'm like, do I really want one? I definitely don't need one, like I thought before. But I'm not even sure if I want one, because there are just so many other choices of how you can live a life as a man here without a wife. Non-monogamy, by the way, having 2 wives here is not that uncommon. You can be polygamous, essentially. I've seen quite a few families where a man has a wife and then a second wife. So there's just so many choices here for men. And so being single for a man in their 40s means more fun. You definitely keep most of your money, and you have a lot of free time, to do stuff. Go to the gym, have a hobby, make more money, go travel. Like, I just traveled for more than 2 weeks. And I went to Africa, but on the way back, I decided, since I'm my own boss, I don't depend on anybody. I'm already in Africa. Why don't I go to Egypt and see the pyramids? I was like, let's do that. Business class and everything, because I don't have to double spend my money because there's a girl with me, right? Because a lot of times, like, I'm not that rich. I cannot afford most of the time 2 business class tickets. I can do 1, but 2 adds a bit of a, maybe less travel then. So life of a single man in his 40s is very different than the life of a single woman in her 40s. So something that I think a lot of women just don't get.
I could go out and get that shit right now. Like, I could respond to a DM right now and be like, let's meet up, let's go Netflix and chill, and like, let me get it satisfied. But that's temporary satisfaction, and we are.
Well, that's not even a satisfaction you're talking about, right? Yeah, you can get laid, but that's not like, the thing is, when we get laid, we're good. When you get laid, you're not good, right? Because you need more, and that's the problem.
Big girls, and we don't do that. We don't.
Well, that's another bullshit. What do you mean, you big girls? First of all, you've done it. Like, all of you have done it. One night stands, friends with benefits, and all that stuff. By the way, nothing's wrong with it. I think more of you should do that. I think, this is where I definitely disagree with the red pill movement. Women should have as much sex as they want to. I don't have a problem with it. As a matter of fact, I'd rather get together with a girl who has some experience and knows how to do things, rather than, a lot of women who I got together here who are, either borderline virgins. They're so bad at it, it's not even worth it. You know what I mean? So I don't mind women going out, being active, but like, oh, we big girls do. Yeah, no. If you're older now, then you should do more of that, because if anything is going to save you is being a little bit more promiscuous than less. If you were giving it out easily when you were in your peak and you didn't get a man, you're definitely not going to get a man by withholding it now, right?
We don't fucking do that.
I've done really well for myself in my career, and I'm ambitious, and it seems to be something that is like desired, because it's like, I don't know, a prize to be won.
Desired by whom? Not by men. We don't want ambitious. We don't want careers. This is like, whenever I see a girl that she's got a career or even master's or PhD, I walk away. You'll never be her number one. She'll never be a good wife. She'll never be submissive. But she'll end up like this. But
then once I actually open up in the dating world and let someone in, then they get bored, or they don't see the value.
There is no value. We don't see a value of somebody who makes her money. We don't give a shit about your money, about your career. Your money and your career only makes you less attractive to us. Like, how do these women don't understand? To have a career, to have money, that makes you more combative, more disagreeable, more assertive. We don't want any of that bullshit. You're definitely not submissive. So no, somebody has to tell you. Is there somebody, maybe like a celebrity, we can hire to give this information to women, that we know you cannot have both. You either want to have a career or you want to be a wife. Like, you can't have both. It's just, I'm sorry, it's just, just like us men, we either can make something out of ourselves and then be able to have sex, or we don't. If we're a bunch of losers living with our parents in the basement in the age of 40 something, we're not going to have sex, and definitely not have a girlfriend. So it kind of works both ways. So yeah, it's either or. And in your case, it's either career or, and this, what you're going through right now, or being a wife. Like, it's just not, sorry. This is just, we all have choices to make.
And I was passed up on an opportunity this week as well.
Opportunity, a business opportunity, a career opportunity, that would be interesting to know. Or a man passed on her.
And then also the guy I was dating, it just, I guess, didn't work.
Wow. So you went for two opportunities. Obviously, a woman who's trying to get a promotion is probably going to abandon her relationship. And if I was to guess, that's what happened, right? And he probably just got fucking tired of this shit and just left, right? For someone who's more available and younger on top of that.
Us as humans need our little person. But I don't want temporary anymore. I'm done with temporary.
Well, that's the thing. You don't get to choose that much. You kind of have to start with temporary. Like, and I think this is, I don't want to speak for all men, but a lot of us, it doesn't work where we come in and we're like, oh yeah, we want to get married and get committed. That's fucking creepy. If a guy just meets you and within a couple of months, he all of a sudden wants to get married, that's fucking creepy. That's just so many things that are wrong with that guy, right? It's just not, But if you want to get married, most men are not going to be like, oh, I'm here to get married. You know how we can get started. No, we're like, first of all, can you be good in bed, right? Like, first of all, what do you look like naked? Can you be good in bed? Is that like, can you meet my basic needs, right? That's why we all want sex at first. Secondly, like, all right, are you fucking annoying afterwards? Like, are you like, what are you doing after we're done? Are you fucking trying to cuddle and block my TV, or are you trying to cook something and tighten up my place, right? Oh, wow, that's the latter. Oh, wait a second. Maybe we should hang out a little bit more. Let's grab dinner, right? Let's see each other in the next day or the day after, right? So it all starts with temporary. For most men, every marriage-like relationship starts with friends with benefits. That's just how it is. You girls like don't know that. I already made videos about it too. So yeah, and the reason that those were temporary relationships, it's not because they were temporary by design. It's just because you made it temporary. You weren't good enough for a guy to say, oh yeah, I want this girl as a wife, right? Didn't cook, didn't clean, didn't give him peace, maybe was argumentative, maybe didn't, pretty yourself up when you were going out, maybe weren't as available, maybe you chose your career or your friends or whatever else over the guy. And and you made it temporary, right? So that's another thing that women just don't fucking understand. And no one shows up as a groom. We all show up as fuckboys essentially, and then see if you can prove us wrong and we're interested in more. But at first, I'm
ready for long-term commitment, and that's what none of our generation is up for. No one in this shit. All right, especially where I'm at, especially where I live. There's no one. And it fucking sucks.
Oh, there is one. He's in your friend zone, most likely. He's the guy you passed on, right? He's not good looking enough for this princess, except for now you're older. Now the same guys you rejected, 5-10 years ago, and all of a sudden they made something out of themselves, or made more money, or became more confident, or got in the gym and got into shape. They don't even want you anymore, right? The things have changed. And don't tell me how, unless you live in a remote village of 20 people who are all related to another, there is a good man in town. Trust me. You just don't know how to identify him. You just don't see him. That's the problem. And again, listen to men like me, or listen to women who have been in relationships for a long time, like my mother, or ChatGPT this shit. It's not a secret how you need to be in order to find that guy.
And then it makes me just think about like the shit that I've been through, and then it just makes me think about like how my sons, like, they don't have
a single mother. All right, well, that's another thing. Sorry. If you're a single mother, your only choices are other single fathers, right? And not the ones that see their kids like once a day or during the week, right? Mean like single fathers that have their kids at least half of the time, like involved single fathers. So that's the only type of man you're gonna, because I know good quality man without kids wants a single mother. It's such a horrible, unfair, awful proposition for any man to never be number one, obviously, to have to deal with someone else's child, and a lot of times the father who's still in the fucking picture, or 2 or 3. Yeah, so that's a problem for you also.
A legit family. They have a great family like of me, but like they don't have the mom and
they don't have a great family like you. You're a single mother. You are creating kids who will also not know how to be in a good relationship. You are part of the future problem.
Dad in the same household is what I'm saying, and that sucks. That sucks a lot.
People meet people nowadays. Being a single gal in a single world, where do I go if I don't want to go on dating apps? Like, I don't like dating apps. I've had them. I've tried them. I get disappointed. I get discouraged. Let's be honest. Let's be real.
Well, first of all, being on a dating app for a woman is very different than for a man, right? If you can't find a guy on a dating app where there's like tons of them, first of all, women don't even understand how to use dating apps, right? They work over their feet of the guys who already liked them, right? Instead of going and swiping on their own, right? Because the guys who like you, a lot of them don't fall. Because I also have the reverse problem here, right? My dating apps are full of women who already liked me. And I know that if I'm working off of that list, a lot of them are outside of my age range that I want, right? But they still swiped on me, right on me, because they didn't read my profile. Some women that I just don't find attractive. Some women are way too far away from me, live in a different province. So it's just a list of a lot of women who just do not qualify in the first place. Instead, I swipe myself, right? Because dating apps will prioritize some of the people who did like you, in your swiping section, right? But women don't understand that. They just go through guys who already like them, and that's just a lower quality for all of us, instead of swiping on their own. So they don't even know. But so how? So and they don't know how to use them. A lot of times they don't know what a good man is. So they go for the guy in the gym doing this, right? Instead of a boring guy who doesn't even know how to take a picture, and he's like this, and he's wearing wrong type of glasses or whatever, and maybe not a great hairstyle, but that's the husband material, you're idiot, right? Now, don't get me wrong. The fact that she's not on dating apps is pretty good, but there's so many other ways for women to get a guy interested. Like, that's where you can, like, for example, if you go to an art show or classical music concert, right? Where I'm going to classical music concerts in a couple hours, that's where you will find a lot of men who are, marriage material. Like, but these girls, have you seen a girl like this at the classical music concert? No, I'm not going to see one tonight. For sure.
If you're going to think this person is attractive, you're probably going to swipe yes. And if you don't find them attractive, you're going to swipe no. But sometimes people just aren't photogenic. They just don't present themselves well through photos. That's
a smart girl. She just said what I said. I just didn't think she was going to say it. Okay.
why I just feel like it's so much better to meet people in person. Also, just like with having...
I agree with her. So I do use dating apps a little bit here and there. A lot of times it's just for something casual because it is much easier through a dating app. Also, don't forget, I'm a white guy in Thailand, so I have a privilege of having a lot of girls messaging me and liking me. But if I was in America, I wouldn't bother. But like, I'm not on Tinder, I'm not on Bumble. I'm mainly on like local apps like Thai Friendly. But I agree, like I prefer to meet women in person because it's better in so many different ways. So smart girl.
Dating apps, like, it just feels forced, and I don't want it to feel forced. I want to like go out in public, meet someone like in the wild, both just happen to bump into each other, and you're like, and then sparks fly. I just want to know where do the single men go? Where are you going? Where are you hanging out? Like,
well, no, it's not about just single men, right? You want to, like I said, art shows, classical music concerts, even coffee shops. You see a guy in a coffee shop who's sitting working on his laptop, probably, that means he's working remotely. That means he's probably traveling. That means the job is probably pretty good, right? It means a lot of things. So I don't think it's even that hard for these women. But where do you think she goes, right? Probably to a local bar, probably to like brunches or whatever and all that shit, and the fancy restaurants and stuff like that. So these women, again, because they don't know what a good man is anymore, they don't know where to find them, right? Like, for example, I don't know where to fish for salmon. I don't know. I just don't know where salmon is. Usually I find salmon at the sushi restaurant and at the grocery store down the street. But if you want me to go and hunt for an actual salmon in the river, I'm assuming, I would know, because I don't know what salmon even looks like and where it lives, right? So I would be horrible at it. Just like these women, they replace salmon with a good high-value man, right? They don't know who they are, and so they don't know where to look.
if you're in the garage, like, come out. Like, are you at the lake? Are you snowmobiling? Are you fishing?
No, snowmobiling is probably not a good way to find a man. See?
Wintertime, what are you doing right now? It's funny. How am I this amazing? Like, and single? Like,
you're not that amazing if you're single, right? I mean, you can't have it both ways. You're pretty. I mean, and for my taste, and I don't even like white girls. She's definitely not ugly, right? Unless she's like 300 pounds, underneath there. But, being amazing means more than just being pretty. Men know that, especially now. Men don't want to be with a pretty girl who will, rip them off in a divorce or cheat on them or not take care of them, right? So looks don't matter as much to men as they used to. And I got to tell you, like, I see tons of men here who come here and young, tall guys with money, and they're walking around with really average, really basic looking Thai girls. Why? because they would rather be, and I'm happy to be one of them. I'd rather get a 6 or 7 who is amazing to me, right, than an 8 or 9 or 10 who is just ruining my life or will ruin my life at some point. And a lot of men are waking up to that, and that's why the good looks aren't fooling a lot of us.
Are you kidding me? And like for the
Not
longest
kidding.
time, I just like wasn't worried about it. At this point, I'm like, I'm 31. What is happening? Like, is there just no one left?
Yeah. That's the thing. You weren't worried about it when you should have in your 20s, right? Now you hit 30s. Then she probably realized that even though there's still some suitors, right? Like I would date a girl in her 30s, but there's much less. There's much less. Like I know, guys. So I have one of my buddies here. He is in his late 30s, and he does not consider women in their 30s at all, at all. Like that's not a thing for him, right? So yeah, there's much less. You're definitely gonna probably have to date an older man in his 40s, in my age bracket. And I know a lot of women don't mind that in their 30s, but you're gonna have to change. And a lot of us are gone, by the way. I'm not gonna date you. I'm not even, because I don't want to be near the lake that you're at, But you're gonna have to change your attitude also.
Put me on a dating show. The Bachelor, The Bachelorette.
Why would you want to be on that show, you idiot? It's all fake, and dudes there are assholes, and women are not that much better. The quality of people on those game shows are not high. See, this is the delusion now coming out. I thought she was a little reasonable until now.
Love Island. I don't even care. Just put me somewhere so I can actually like interact with the male race. I'm not acting with males.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Now she's blaming man. Okay. Oh, I got a super chat. Look at that. $2. Thank you. $2. You know what buys $2 here? Like I like this dish. It's called kalmudeng. So it is 4 types of pork over rice with some cucumbers and sauce, and a soup with blood cubes. I love blood cubes, by the way. And it's a pretty big plate. Like that's enough for half of a day for me. That's what I can get for $2. Actually, less than that. Okay, so the coldest Jenkins says, I don't want Chad and Tyrone's leftovers. So interesting comment. So I'm torn there. Like I do understand that a girl who fucked around in her 20s with a bunch of dudes who were just like doing her and for no good reason, and then she shows up as like, well, I'm ready now for marriage, right? There is on one hand, that's life. You know what I mean? A girl in her 20s are gonna experience life. And also, in my case, I want a girl who knows how to have sex and is good at it. And the only way to get there is to have a few partners before that, right? I'm telling you, I'm in Thailand. I've been with tons of these women who are just, I'm their second or third partner. They haven't had sex in 2 or 3 years. And boy, that sucks. I'd rather have these girls be taught by Chads and Tyrone sometimes on how to do it, because it is awful. So, but on the other hand, I do understand that, like, do I really want a girl who's just kind of like being used up and stuff like that? So, man, I wish there was a balance, right? I wish there was a balance, but I do understand you guys when you say, well, I don't want the girl who's been playing around in her 20s and now she's all used up, and now she's ready for me, a guy she didn't want to pay attention to only like 5 years ago, right? Because she's hitting 30 or 40. So I totally understand that. I will mold it over grilled pork over rice dish that you just bought me, so I appreciate it. All right, Karen says, so big deal, 40 years old, have regrets. All people have regrets because nobody knows the future, they only know the past. Well, Karen, this is what this live feed is all about. A woman in her 40s has way less choices, at least of men that she wants, right? A typical woman in her 40s wants a man in his 40s or maybe early 50s. I'm a man in that. I'm 48. I don't even consider women in their 40s at all. Like, I'm mainly dating women in their 20s, maybe sometimes in their 30s, and I'm not a weirdo who just somehow does that. And I'm not even one of those guys who I like young women. I like women in general. It's just I click more with women in their 20s, and I get more attention from women in their 20s. And I know most guys in their 40s and 50s who are dating women in their 20s. So a woman who's in her 40s just has way less men who are available to her in the age group she wants. Now, a woman in her 40s probably should date a guy in his late 50s and early 60s, but a lot of them, they don't want that because they just got done with Chads and Tyrones, right? Like as the previous guy said. So they're not willing to kind of like visually fall from like pretty hot guy to like a guy in his 60s, right? But we're now talking about marriage, right? And so like I said, there are very few choices, alternatives for women in their 40s, right? Because when a girl in her 20s or whatever, not only their choices of men, but their choices of like, oh, I'm going to go and drink and have a career or whatever, right? Women in their 40s are now starting to feel a pain, right? And there's no turning back. That's another thing, there is really no turning back. The mistakes that you made that made you 40 and single are irreversible, where a guy in his 40s and 50s and 60s, we can easily purchase what we want. Many of us can still even get it because there are plenty of girls in their 20s who do want an older man, even 20, 30 years older. Like I said, my mother has been married to my father for over 50 years, and she's almost 20 years younger. So I have a pretty good, role model of how to make the relationship work between an older man and a younger woman. So, and the thing is, but I think you're also not listening to what I said earlier. If you have regrets in your 40s, do something about it, because there are plenty of women. I mean, all the women that at least I've seen in this video so far are still pretty attractive, right? The ones that are single mothers, that's a whole different story. But just as far as attractiveness, that they have not hit the wall yet. So do something with those regrets. Correct your behavior. You know what I mean? Maybe slow down your career. Maybe develop some of the characteristics that these men want in a wife, and maybe start, being less argumentative. Like even your message here, Karen, that's quite an, disagreeable, argumentative. You could have come across with the same message in a much more kinder and feminine way, right? So maybe start learning more feminine ways, how to talk to a man, how to just have a better attitude. And the feminine energy will attract more men, right? Because like I said, if you're still decent looking, there will be men who will be attracted to you. But what will be unattractive is the attitude, this attitude. And looks, I'm not trying to pick on you specifically, Karen. I do appreciate your participating in the conversation. So respect. But you have to understand that if you want a man in your 40s, you have to change the attitude. You have to be less combative, less disagreeable, phrase things a little bit better than this, and also, and this is, I think, most importantly, recognize what a good man is. Most of you don't, even into your 40s, adjust. Look at the women who've been together with their husbands for 20, 30 years and are still happy, right? Not all of them are, but talk to those men and women and see what you can learn there. Okay, let's keep going.
Anyways, love comes to you when you least expect it. Shut.
Oh, I agree with this one for sure. This doesn't happen, even for men, right? A lot of people told me also like, oh no, you're looking too hard or whatever. It's like, well, I'm not really looking too hard, but I definitely, if I stop looking, that's not going to happen at all. Like, this is not a movie. This just does not happen anymore anyway, because the dating thing has evolved. But specifically for women, yes, I think she kind of resonates the same vibe as the black girl from before, that says like, I want a man, but I do absolutely nothing to get one. And when one shows up, I show him the door. You do have to participate. You do have to participate. Well, let's see what she has to say. I like where this is going.
Up. I have been trying to not expect it for like 6 years. And also, I was speaking to my friend the other day, and she was
Let's see if she's going to listen to her female friend. It would be nice to know if her female friend is married or in a relationship or single, but let's see.
Like, are you like trying to like go out of your way to meet people? I'm like, no, because people are fucking telling me that it comes when you least expect it. So here I am like trying to convince myself I don't want it, and I'm just not expecting it so I can get it, and it's not happening. But then even when I go out of my way to like go on dating apps, it just never works, because these people that I'm meeting aren't my cup of tea are not wanting what I want. They just want a casual thing. And like, as someone who's never been in any kind of romantic entanglement, my first relationship is not gonna be a fucking casual relationship.
Well, then you're gonna stock up on some antidepressants and cats. But that whatever the fuck she's wearing is perfect to cuddle with cats. I mean, she is in her 30s, right? At least, and she never been in a romantic relationship. I think you should take whatever you can get. I mean, like, for example, as someone who is, wanting a wife and sees a girl in her 30s and says, "I've never been in a relationship before," run, right? I mean, this is where you need to get some experience. And at this point, I would not waste my time, and I would get into any type of relationship just to figure out how to, like, not get bothered by the dirty socks on the floor by a man. You know what I mean? So, and it sounds like her friend actually gave her pretty decent advice to get out of her own way, because obviously she has been, if she's in her 30s and still single.
And yeah, so like, what one is it? Should I put myself out there, or should I just pretend that I'm not, like, oh, I don't want a boyfriend?
All right, guys, thank you so much for coming back to my channel.
All right, so I think this is just the end of this compilation, and I had to use the compilation of someone else who did that. So yeah, so this is, as you can probably see, if we would have gone for further videos, and by the way, I'm going to do this in the future as well, and some of these videos I do break down, one by one. I think one of the most popular videos I have on my channel is where this girl says, I'm single, I'm lonely, and I've done this wrong, and I've done this wrong. And then she goes on to blame her parents or her ex-boyfriends for it, right? So in a classic modern woman fashion, she wants to take absolutely no fucking responsibility for her own action and her own destiny. At least men, most of us, we're like, yeah, I fucked up. Yeah, that girl was great and I fucked up. I cheated on her, or I did this and I did that, or whatever, right? By the way, I've never cheated on women ever in my life, and I never will. But you know what I mean? Like, men have no problems admitting their mistakes and saying, yeah, what are you going to do? But women just have no fucking like brain cells to even understand that you got to take responsibilities for your actions and your words, but you can do something about it. When you take responsibility, you don't just say, okay, I take responsibility. That does nothing. When you take responsibility, essentially it means you have to change something. And a lot of these women, like I said, I did not see a single ugly woman in this compilation. These are all very, very still attractive women, at least for my taste. And like I said, half of them are white, and I don't really like white chicks. And so, what's keeping them away from men interested in them seriously enough to, consider them as possible wife material is what's inside of their head, how they act, how they look at it. We just had a comment with a girl who came out and basically showed, to kind of prove my point, right? And I just addressed her comment. It's definitely sad and also puzzling for someone like me. I'm a very logical person. When something's not working, I try to change it, right? Like, I already had a 7-year YouTube career with a previous channel that, the reason that channel was successful was because I consistently changed the channel and tried different things. Even on this channel is not even half a year old, but I'm already trying different things and changing things if I don't like how it's going. Maybe I'm not getting enough subscribers, maybe I'm not getting enough views, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not working. Let's not continue doing the same thing. Let's try something different, right? I just don't understand why same mentality are just not something that these women consider. And again, and a lot of them, like, Karen earlier, they don't even realize that, oh, you are pretty much out of time. You don't get to take a break or work on yourself or still chase one more promotion or go after one more chat. You don't have that time anymore. You have to lower your standards in terms of looks. Sorry. Like, again, you're going from banging chats to trying to marry, a good guy. That's gonna be a big difference, right? But most importantly is these modern women just don't understand how to identify and attract and then keep a good man. And I think until they figure it out, they're going to continue consistently and continuously having these issues. And, by the way, I escaped, right? Like, I'm good. And by the way, if you want to do what I did, which is not that easy, there's a good reason why I have that right there. See the URL in the yellow, themillionmanproject.com. That entire thing is dedicated to how you can also get away from these modern women, and without having to wait for them to change their behavior, and come to another country where the women are still feminine, they're still submissive. Not all of them, believe me, you still have to do some work here, and a lot of times learn the language, and that's all part of my thing there. So go and check it out. It's in the description of this video as well. But I escaped, so I don't really need to deal with a lot of these women. But if you cannot, right, as a man, now I suggest that every single man in America and Europe just starts trying to start a business online or get a job that he can do online so he can escape, because I don't believe there are any marriage material women left in these countries. But if you're staying, you're going to have to wait until these women come around. You really do. I already saw this myself before I left over 2 years ago, but I keep hearing more and more how you go to a bar a lot of times, and the bar area is nothing but women, nothing but single women. And a few men who are in that bar or whatever, they're just enjoying their time and drinking with their buddies and exchanging stories and whatever. I remember a specific place, and it was in Houston, Texas, the last place I lived in America, where I was like, all of these good-looking women, they're all dressed up, and there's a bunch of dudes, and they're just like, don't give a what is happening? It was just so weird, right? But then they realized, like, yeah, these guys are out with their buddies, paying for their own beer, not having to pay for a $20 drink just to talk to a girl, just so you can exchange numbers and she ghosts you, right, within a day or whatever. Like, they've done it. And this is kind of like how I feel a lot of times when I see women, even here in Thailand. I was like, yeah, that girl definitely going to ghost me within 24 hours. So I'd rather write an extra script for my channel, or I'd rather go and check out an extra restaurant or hang out with a buddy of mine. But in America, I don't blame that. Most men are basically like, well, I know what's going to happen, right? I'm going to be out of more money. Like, I was going to spend like $10 on my beer, but if I go talk to a couple of girls, that's a $60 night now. And yeah, I'm going to maybe get their numbers. That's fine. But they're just going to ghost me or send me out on a date, or take that, top off, and it's going to be all covered in tattoos or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? So, or demand expensive dinner for the first date. Like, nah, I'm good. I'm good with my $10 investment into this evening. I'm here chilling, listening to music, talking to my buddies, people watching, you know what I mean? And this is the trend that I've already seen, going on in America before I left. And I think this is only going to continue. But I am hoping that some of these women who are obviously smart, a lot of them have done very well for themselves, as you can see, develop their careers. They fly business class. I see them all the time, right next to me, by themselves. Maybe they'll start using some of those brains, which they do have, into analyzing and figuring out what they need to change in order to attract men who actually want to marry them, even if they're in their 40s. Like I said, a man in his mid-50s and early 60s, there are plenty of men like that who are still in shape, who are still good, don't even have to use Viagra, who have a good track record of being in good long-term relationships and marriages that are more than suitable. You just can't have a six-pack chat anymore, yeah. All right. Calvin says, passport bros, we're up. Now, let me also, so I am a passport bro, but I am a real passport bro. I hate to say that. I hate the name, but most of the dudes that you see out there, on social media are not really passport bros. If you see a passport bro with a girl with her tits out and tattoos, or trying to shove a drink into the camera, these are not passport bros, and these are not, traditional women, right? This is just hoes that they've hired and piled some money on that they can afford because it's much more affordable here in Southeast Asia. These dudes, they're not even quality men in general. That's why they go after these bar girls that they pay for. Passport bros are actually men who genuinely want to be in long-term good relationships and find a wife and come here for those reasons. Not because it's cheaper, not because, because women here, we have choices of women who are, submissive, women who are traditional, and so forth and so forth. It's not easy. Like, I believe you have to learn the language of the country you're moving to, because women who actually speak English here are no better than Americans. They are better, but they're not that much better than American women or Western women in general. You do need to learn the local language that essentially protects these women from being westernized, from being damaged by what I call as the real virus. So, and like I said, if you want to become a passport bro, I have the whole sort of course on how to do it. It's not that easy. It is not that easy. You can go to the millionmanproject.com, and you can see the table of contents, how long it is. And part of that course is I have to explain, and I just did a live video about that. I had to explain what a traditional woman is, because a lot of men kind of forgot. Even I forgot when I moved here. I was like, oh, I remember women doing these things for me and speaking in such a manner and dressing, but a lot of you either forgot or never even knew what a traditional woman is, especially younger guys, right? Or guys who were in long-term relationships and realized, or marriages, that holy shit, that was not good, right? So I have to, like, a whole section there is just explain what a traditional woman is, and then how to find a country, right? Like Thailand is not for everybody, right? And I think Philippines is also not the best place to go. Yeah, women in Philippines are great, but they all speak English, so they're all infected. But also, I feel like Philippines is not a livable country. The standard of life there is just not good enough. Yeah, you might find a wife there, and then what are you going to do? Be afraid that she gets raped every day, or not be able to provide good care for her and her family. So yeah, so check it out. Now Kevin actually says it very interesting, something. He says, my wife is a doctor and completely traditional. So Kelvin, I would have to, that would be very, very, very rare for a woman to be able to kind of turn her boss chick thing off. However, it depends what kind of doctor she is. If she is like a regular medical group 9 to 5 kids doctor, right? And then she comes home and becomes a wife, then it's a possibility. Yeah, very difficult, especially if she's earning money. Now, also, if you're earning much more money than her as a doctor, that's also possible. So yeah, let's see. But then someone replies, says, Kevin, what is it like to have a doctor make you a sandwich? That is a good question. I would like to know the question. All right, here's another attempt on a heckle. I feel like I can't trust a guy named Guberman. You don't have to trust me. Yeah, I don't. Sorry, Jimmy. You don't. It's a very odd. Again, if this is a serious statement, that's just dumb. But if you're trying to hurt my feelings, please put more effort. I like good insults, by the way. I can appreciate good insults, but a lot of you guys are just too lazy. It really takes so much more than this to really hurt my feelings, right? All right, Dominican. Yeah, I've never been to Dominican Republic. I've heard good things, so it is a possibility. But again, you guys have to remember that if you want to be a passport bro, you can't bring yourself to the other country and expect different results, right? You have to improve yourself. You have to have some self-respect. You cannot be a simp, because I'm telling you, there's plenty of women in every country that figured out how to take money and make your life miserable as a simp. I see it all the time. Guys reach out to me, ask me to mentor them, and then I can't do anything for them because I just can't unsimp them. You know what I mean? So you have to improve yourself. Make sure you have, it's not that hard to make enough money here to be able to be a good provider, but still you got to be able to do it online. So $3,000-$4,000 a month, strive for that. Be in shape. Don't show up as a fat fuck here. You know what I mean? You can improve. You got gyms in America and Europe there. Don't be a fat fuck here, okay? If you're balding like me, like I'm just about to have a second hair transplant surgery, try to look presentable in whatever, whatever improvement you need to make, because you do need to look physically attractive as well. I mean, these women still don't want to, screw an ugly fat guy, right? So do your best. Work on your personality, but especially work on your self-respect, right? Don't be a simp. So, it's all part of my course, but just generally speaking, guys, don't just show up here. All right, Jimmy decided to end his insults and ask a real question, so I will entertain that. Do I need a passport to be a passport bro, or will a driver license do? Well, that's actually a better question than you might have thought, Jimmy. Yes, of course, you have to have a passport to live in, overseas. Not all countries will allow you to live there permanently for a long term, right? Thailand is one of them. The driver license, by the way, what does help here is having local driver license. Not so much to drive, like I haven't driven a car in 2 years, and I have no interest in that. But it is to when you go somewhere where they check driver license and you show them like Thai driver license. Respect. All of a sudden, they don't look at you as a tourist. They look at you as more of a local, someone who lives there, obviously likes their culture. So, so you need both, I guess. Jila Star says, LOL, don't be a fat American stereotype. Yeah, I mean, listen, here's the thing. There are good stereotypes and bad stereotypes. I'm just saying, if you're going to show up here fat, the only way for you to get a good, you're not going to get a good girl, or she will also be fat and ugly, right? If you're okay with that, that's fine. We have plenty ugly women who are good wives, okay? If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, it's totally true. That song, right? So, but, give yourself a better chance. You should not be fat, not just for the attractiveness, right? It's a guy who's fat. Obviously, you have no discipline. You don't care about your own health. So how are you going to be expected to take care of the family's well-being if you're not taking care of your own well-being, right? You don't have to have a six-pack. I don't have a fucking six-pack. I don't think I ever will. But, I take care of my health. So when a girl sees me being, at least decent looking and in shape, they're like, whoa, he probably has discipline. He doesn't eat cheesecake every day. He probably, has something healthy, which I do. A lot of times I'd like to go and eat something unhealthy, get some pad thai, with shrimp and Thai iced tea, but I don't, right? I drink water. I eat something healthier. So, yeah. There is also international driver license, Michael, but here in Thailand, they're actually just about to pass a law where you cannot drive with that license, which is kind of weird. Michael says, you ain't wrong, men simp themselves. Yeah, the women just take what is offered. You can't really blame them. Yeah, I don't blame women. I mean, their behavior is disgusting, and I want to have nothing to do with it as far as modern women are concerned, but I don't blame women. I blame men. We've allowed this. What you permit, you promote. Right? So absolutely, we need to change first in order to expect women to change. Because as you can see, these women in their 40s, they're not willing to change because there's still a bunch of simps who are willing to entertain that idea, except for these women realize they don't want them, but by the time that happens, they're in their 50s, right? So it's a vicious circle. The diet in another country helps you lose the weight. Yes, we definitely, food in America is just complete shit. I had to be gluten-free in America, where any other country, I don't have to avoid gluten. That's how much, American food industry rapes the food. Here, almost everything is as automatically organic and well-sourced. So absolutely, you will be much healthier here just eating the same food even as you did in your country. All right, Jayla says, not being sarcastic or anything, I'm genuinely asking. Wait, what did you ask that I did not answer? Well, you asked Michael, right? But I will answer that question, Jayla. What's your opinion on a simp? What if he is happy? Will you let it be, or would you convince him he is a simp and should be unhappy? Well, this is why this movement is called red pill, right? Because a lot of people who live in the matrix love the matrix, right? But the question is, do you really want to know what's happening? So I know plenty of simps, right? Like one of the simps I know, he is consistently a victim of domestic violence by his wife. But if you would tell him, like, you're a domestic violence abuse victim, he'll be like, wait, what? So he's happy. He's in the matrix. He's happy by being a victim of abuse. So you tell me, should we tell people that they can do better or they shouldn't tolerate it? I think we should. And let them choose, right? Let's do this blue pill, red pill thing to them, as long as they know that there is a red pill. Most of them don't know there's a red pill. So I think just telling them there is a choice is important. But But yeah, I agree with you. There are some simps who are in normal relationships and they're happy with it. And in that case, like I said, I will be like, hey, listen, you know, you can have a different life, right? But if you want to keep yours, that's fine. As long as you know there's a way out if you want to have out. Some people, you know, some people like it. So yeah, I look down, you know, on simps a lot of times, but as far as like the relationships, but if they're happy, I don't want to convince them. I don't. Let's see. All right. Well, Michael answered your question as well. Jayla says, no one says changing at 40. You know, I feel like we live in a world where people do change. I feel like I have changed in my 40s, and for the better, actually. But that's because I came to Thailand and I wanted to be in a country and a culture that's much more sort of kind. And I have become a better man just because I'm amongst kind and respectful people. So people do change, but you know, I understand this is not ideal, of course, and it's difficult. All right, this is too much for me to answer because I gotta go. My cleaning lady is just about to come in. I made a mistake of choosing the brown pill. At least it looked like okay. All right, funny. Okay, I'll take one or more, maybe two more comments. You guys decided to participate at the end. I was gonna go for 1 hour, and we're like 1 hour in. I have to eat, and I have a classical music concert to go to. You know, where will be no women who can recognize a good man at the classical music concert. Michael says, I'd let gals slap him around a bit when I was younger, but I grew out of that. Okay. Well, I'm assuming you didn't mean M, you mean me. Jayla, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. I've changed a lot, but that's only after having kids. I was also 30s, 40s. That's tough to believe. He must really want it. Yeah, well, it sounds like these women want it, but they don't want to do anything about it, right? They just want it magically to happen, but the magic is unlikely at that time of their lives, right? So that's why it is just, you know, listen, I can only hope, right? I can only hope, and I can only hope that women in their 30s and 40s and even 20s watch videos like this, realize they don't want to end up like this, and they will absolutely will if they continue the type of dating strategy they have, and then change, because everyone's going to win. Women who are traditional and submissive and want to be wives will have an amazing lives, and men who want those women, which I think most of us would also be happy, because right now no one's happy except for me, but I moved to Thailand. Again, if you want to do the same thing, I have a link in the description of the video. Go and check it out, guys. So, all right, guys, I literally looking at my door because my cleaning lady is just about to barge in and she has no idea I'm doing the live stream. So, but listen, I'm live every day and I will absolutely, so join me tomorrow if you want to continue the conversation for sure. I'm going to try to do it around the same time. So I went live, 1 p.m. Bangkok time, which I think is 11 a.m. Pacific time. So join me. Tomorrow we'll have another reaction video, but I love chatting with you guys. So maybe I will see you tomorrow. Okay? Peace.